Hello guys, welcome to Fictional Vortex. So in this video, we will see what if Naruto was the primordial dragon god, the true mate of Ophis and Great Red Naruto x Ophis, High School DxD. If you enjoy these kinds of stories, don't forget to show us some love by hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel. Your support means the world to us. Now, let's start the story. Chapter 1, Awakening. The air crackled with electricity as a sudden storm gathered above Tokyo. Lightning split the sky, but something was off about this storm. The lightning flashed blue and gold instead of white, and the clouds swirled in unnatural patterns. In an abandoned construction site on the outskirts of the city, space itself seemed to tear open. A body fell through the rip, landing hard on the concrete with enough force to crack it. The spatial tear sealed itself instantly, leaving no trace except the unconscious man and the lingering scent of ozone. He lay there for hours as the strange storm dissipated, leaving behind clear night skies. When consciousness finally returned to him, it came in fragments, like pieces of a broken mirror reflecting different parts of the same image. The man sat up abruptly, gasping for breath. His bright blue eyes darted around, taking in unfamiliar surroundings. Spiky blonde hair fell across his forehead, partially obscuring strange whisker-like markings on his cheeks. "What the hell?" he muttered, pressing his palm against his throbbing temple. "Where am I?" He tried to stand but staggered, catching himself against a half-built wall. His body felt wrong, too light, too small, too human. Something deep inside screamed that this form was merely a shell, a fraction of what he should be. "My name," he whispered to himself. "My name is Naruto." That much he knew. But everything beyond that was a swirling void punctuated by brief flashes, golden scales, infinite space, the feeling of flight, and a profound connection to something. No, someone. Two someones. Damn it. Naruto slammed his fist into the concrete wall, expecting it to crumble. It didn't. His knuckles split and bled instead. He stared at the red liquid in shock. "That's not right," he murmured. "I shouldn't bleed from something so trivial." He closed his eyes, instinctively reaching inside himself for power that should be there. He found it, an ocean of energy so vast it terrified him, but it was locked away, sealed behind barriers he couldn't break. Only the tiniest trickle leaked through, just enough to heal his bloodied knuckles in seconds. A sudden wave of exhaustion hit him, and Naruto slid down against the wall. Whatever had happened to him, whatever had brought him here, had left him drained. He needed time to think, to remember. "First things first," he told himself. "Figure out where I am, then worry about who I am." Dawn broke over Tokyo as Naruto made his way through the awakening city. He'd found some abandoned clothes in the construction site, jeans and a black t-shirt that fit well enough. The city fascinated and confused him. Tall buildings of glass and steel, vehicles rushing past on paved roads, humans everywhere, absorbed in their own worlds. Yet something felt familiar about it too. The language these people spoke, Japanese, he understood it perfectly. He knew what cars were, what cell phones were, what convenience stores sold. Basic knowledge existed in his mind, but personal memories remained frustratingly out of reach. Naruto stopped at a street corner, watching the morning rush hour. Something caught his attention, a flicker of movement too fast for human eyes. On the rooftop across the street, a figure crouched, watching. Not human. The energy signature felt wrong. Without thinking, Naruto leapt upward. His body responded with more strength than expected, carrying him across the street and onto the roof in a single bound. The figure, humanoid but with leathery wings and red eyes, hissed in surprise. "What are you?" Naruto demanded. The creature bared its fangs. "I should be asking you that. You reek of power but smell like no species I recognize." "I'm just trying to figure things out," Naruto said, taking a step forward. The wind being tensed. "Stay back. I'm just a scout." My master will want to know about you. Your master? Who's that? Instead of answering, the creature spread its wings and launched into the sky. Naruto cursed and took off after it, leaping from rooftop to rooftop with inhuman agility. Something inside him surged, a primal instinct that refused to let prey escape. The chase led him away from the dense city center and into quieter neighborhoods. The creature was fast, but Naruto found himself anticipating its movements, cutting corners to gain ground. When he finally lunged, tackling the winged being in mid-air, they crashed through the canopy of trees in a public park. They hit the ground hard, rolling across grass until Naruto pinned the creature down. "Talk," he growled, surprised at the rumbling quality his voice had taken. "What are you, and who sent you?" The creature struggled. "I'm a devil, you idiot. From the Astaroth clan. We felt your energy signature appear out of nowhere last night. It was disruptive." "Disruptive how?" "Like a bomb going off in the supernatural world. Every faction within 100 miles felt it." The devil stopped struggling. "What are you?" "You look human, but no human has that kind of aura." Naruto frowned. Devils? Supernatural factions? None of this made sense, yet somehow it didn't surprise him either. "I don't know what I am," he admitted, loosening his grip slightly. "I woke up here with no memories." The devil laughed nervously. "Well, whatever you are, you've stirred up a hornet's nest. My master won't be the only one coming to investigate." Before Naruto could respond, a new voice cut through the morning air, soft, monotone, yet somehow carrying immense weight. "Leave, devil. This one is not yours to claim." Naruto turned to see a young girl standing at the edge of the small clearing. She appeared no older than 13 or 14, with long black hair and emotionless gray eyes. She wore a gothic Lolita dress that seemed at odds with her blank expression. But her appearance meant nothing compared to what Naruto felt. Something inside him resonated with her presence, a deep, ancient recognition that made his sealed power surge against its constraints. The devil beneath him went rigid with fear. "Ophis," it whispered. The name struck Naruto like lightning. Images flashed through his mind, a serpent circling infinity, darkness stretching beyond comprehension, and a profound sense of companionship. The girl, Ophis, tilted her head slightly as she studied Naruto. "You are awake. Finally." The devil used Naruto's momentary distraction to break free, scrambling backward. "I meant no disrespect, Infinite One. I was just, go," Ophis said, never taking her eyes off Naruto. The devil didn't need to be told twice. It spread its wings and vanished into the sky, leaving Naruto alone with the strange girl who somehow felt more familiar than anything else in this world. "You know me," Naruto said. It wasn't a question. "I know what you are," she replied. "Or rather, what you should be." Naruto approached her cautiously. Despite her small stature and youthful appearance, every instinct told him she was ancient and immensely powerful. "And what should I be?" Her expressionless face betrayed nothing, but her eyes held a depth that seemed to look through him. "The first one. The origin. The dragon of creation." More images flooded Naruto's mind, vast golden scales, wings that spanned dimensions, three entities existing in perfect balance until something happened, he murmured. "Something tore us apart." Ophis nodded once. "Us. You remember that much?" "Not clearly. Just, feelings. Connections." Naruto clutched his head as pain lanced through it. "There were 3 of us." "Yes. Myself, the infinite dragon god. Great Red, the dragon of dreams. And you, the primordial dragon god, whose true name has been forgotten even by the oldest beings." Naruto looked at his hands, so small, so human. "Then why am I like this? Why can't I remember?" For the first time, Ophis's expression changed slightly, a barely perceptible narrowing of her eyes. That is what I wish to know. You vanished eons ago. Your power was divided, scattered across dimensions. Some believed you dead. Others thought you had chosen to fade from existence. And what did you believe? The question seemed to catch her off guard. She was silent for several moments before answering. I believed you would return. The Trinity cannot remain broken forever. Something in her monotone voice carried a weight of loneliness that resonated with Naruto. He felt drawn to her, not just by the cosmic connection she described, but by a shared solitude that transcended time. I need answers, Naruto said. If I'm really this dragon god you're talking about, why am I trapped in a human body? Why are my memories gone? And why now, after all this time? Ophis turned away. Come. This place is too exposed. Others will have sensed our meeting. Others like that devil. Far more dangerous than minor devils. The supernatural world has changed much in your absence. She began walking, clearly expecting him to follow. There are those who would destroy you before you regain your strength. And others who would use you for their own purposes. Naruto fell into step beside her, noticing how she maintained a precise distance, close enough to speak quietly, but carefully avoiding any physical contact. And which category do you fall into? He asked. For the briefest moment, something like amusement flickered across her face. Neither. I simply seek restoration of what was. The Trinity, Naruto said, the words feeling right on his tongue. Yes. Though Great Red may not share my desire. He has grown, comfortable as the strongest existence. They walked in silence through the park, an odd pair, a teenage-looking boy and a gothic Lolita girl. Any humans they passed seemed to unconsciously give them wide berth, as if their instincts warned them away from predators beyond their comprehension. Where are we going? Naruto finally asked. To a place between spaces. I have maintained many such refuges over the millennia. As they reached the edge of the park, Ophis stopped abruptly, her head tilting as if listening to something Naruto couldn't hear. We are being followed, she stated. Naruto concentrated, extending his senses. He felt them now, multiple energy signatures closing in from different directions. Some felt similar to the devil he'd encountered earlier, but others were different, brighter, more ordered. What do we do? He asked, instinctively moving into a defensive stance. We could flee, Ophis said dispassionately. Or you could use this opportunity to awaken more of your dormant power. Before Naruto could respond, the air around them shimmered as a magic circle appeared on the ground. From it stepped three figures, two men and a woman, all wearing what appeared to be battle armor beneath modern clothes. Ophis, the lead man said, his voice respectful but wary. The Grigori would like to know why you've taken interest in this individual. His eyes flicked to Naruto, assessing. Azazel, Ophis acknowledged. This does not concern the fallen angels. The man, Azazel, smiled thinly. When the Ouroboros dragon and an unknown power signature converge in my territory, it very much concerns me. Your territory? Naruto asked, earning a sharp look from the woman. Japan falls under Grigori protection by treaty, Azazel explained. I'm Azazel, Governor-General of the Grigori Organization. And you are? Naruto. Just Naruto. No family name, no faction, no species classification. Naruto shrugged. Just Naruto for now. Azazel's casual demeanor didn't change, but his companions tensed, light spears forming in their hands. For a being of your obvious power, just Naruto, is an insufficient answer in these troubled times. Ophis stepped forward. He is under my protection. Which raises even more questions. Azazel countered. You don't protect anyone, Ophis. You barely acknowledge most existences. The tension in the air thickened. Naruto could feel power gathering around the fallen angels, not enough to truly threaten Ophis, he somehow knew, but potentially dangerous to him in his current weakened state. Look, Naruto interjected, I get that you've got responsibilities or whatever, but I literally just woke up with no memories. I'm trying to figure things out, not cause trouble. Azazel studied him intently. No memories. Yet Ophis sought you out specifically. He turned to the dragon girl. What is he to you? An old acquaintance, she replied flatly. Bullshit, the female fallen angel snapped. Ophis doesn't have acquaintances. Something about her tone, dismissive, contemptuous, triggered a surge of anger in Naruto. The power inside him pushed against its constraints, and for a moment, the air around him shimmered with golden light. All three fallen angels stepped back, wings manifesting instinctively. Interesting, Azazel murmured. That energy signature, it's unlike anything I've catalogued, and I've spent millennia studying sacred gears and unusual phenomena. We've told you all you need to know, Ophis said. Leave us. I'm afraid I can't do that, Azazel replied. Unknown powers need to be registered and accounted for. The piece is too fragile for wild cards. More fallen angels appeared, teleporting in to surround them. Naruto counted 12 in total, all battle-ready. He sensed Ophis's power, vast and cold like an endless void, but surprisingly, she made no move to attack or defend. With sudden clarity, Naruto understood. This was a test. She wanted to see how he would handle this confrontation, whether anything of his true nature would emerge under pressure. One of the fallen angels lunged without warning, a light spear aimed at Naruto's chest. He reacted on instinct, sidestepping with impossible speed and grabbing the spear. Pain lanced through his palm as the light energy burned him, but he held on, using the momentum to swing the attacker around and throw him into two others. Stop! Azazel commanded, but things had already escalated. Light spears flew from multiple directions. Naruto dodged most, but one caught him in the shoulder, burning through flesh. The pain triggered something, a memory of being pierced by weapons far more devastating, of regenerating from wounds that would annihilate lesser beings. His body moved on its own, drawing on the trickle of power available to him. Golden energy coursed through his veins, healing the wound instantly. With each heartbeat, more sealed power leaked through, responding to the threat. He's powering up, one of the fallen angels shouted. Stop him now. Azazel raised his hand. Wait. Look at his eyes. Naruto didn't know what his eyes looked like, but he could see more clearly now, could perceive energy flows, dimensional weaknesses, the exact trajectories needed to incapacitate each opponent without killing them. When he moved again, it was with devastating efficiency. He flashed between fallen angels, delivering precise strikes that disrupted their energy circulation. Wings faltered, light spears dissipated, and bodies fell to the ground, paralyzed but unharmed. In seconds, only Azazel remained standing, a look of fascination rather than fear on his face. Remarkable, the Governor-General said. You neutralized 11 combat-trained fallen angels without killing a single one. That requires control few beings possess. Naruto returned to Ophis's side, the golden energy receding but not disappearing entirely. I don't want to fight you. But I won't be taken prisoner either. Azazel nodded thoughtfully. Fair enough. Perhaps we can discuss this civilly. I have extensive resources that might help with your memory problem. In exchange for what? Naruto asked warily. Information. Cooperation when needed. The usual arrangement we have with independent powers. Ophis spoke before Naruto could respond. We decline. He is not ready for such entanglements. With respect, Ophis, Azazel said, I wasn't asking you. Whatever he is to you, he's clearly capable of making his own decisions. Something shifted in the air between them, a subtle change in pressure as Ophis's power rose just enough to make her point. You forget yourself, fallen one. Azazel raised his hands in a placating gesture. No offense intended. But you must understand my position. An unknown power emerges, displays combat abilities that suggest extensive training, and has the Ouroboros dragon as an advocate. The other factions will demand answers I don't have. Naruto felt torn. Part of him, the part that seemed most human, appreciated Azazel's straightforward approach. But deeper instincts warned against aligning with any faction before he understood his own nature. I need time, he finally said. Give me a week to sort things out, and I'll meet with you willingly. Azazel considered this. 3 days. And I'll need a way to contact you. We will find you, Ophis stated. After a tense moment, Azazel nodded. 3 days. But understand this, if you cause any disturbances, our next meeting won't be nearly so cordial. He glanced at his fallen comrades, who were beginning to regain movement. Impressive technique, by the way. Ancient dragon pressure point system. Naruto blinked in surprise. I don't know. It just came to me. Muscle memory outlasts mental memory, Azazel observed. Interesting implications. He backed away, summoning a transportation circle. 3 days, Naruto. Don't make me hunt you down. With that, the fallen angels disappeared, teleporting away with their injured comrades. Silence fell over the park as Naruto turned to Ophis. You wanted to see what I'd do. She didn't deny it. Your combat instincts remain intact. Your power is returning, if slowly. Those pressure points, how did I know that? You called me a dragon god, but I fought like a warrior, Ophis finished. You were always different from Great Red and myself. You chose to understand the beings you created, to walk among them. It made you both stronger and more vulnerable than us. The words triggered another memory flash. Naruto saw himself moving between worlds, taking different forms, learning the ways of countless species across dimensions. We need to leave this area, Ophis said, interrupting his thoughts. That confrontation will have drawn attention from others. This time when she began walking, she created a small tear in space with a casual gesture. Naruto followed her through it, emerging in what appeared to be an abandoned traditional Japanese house deep in a forest. Where are we? He asked, looking around at the simple but well-maintained interior. A pocket dimension connected to the mortal world. Few can find it, fewer can enter uninvited. Ophis moved to the center of the main room and sat on a cushion, her posture unnaturally still. You require rest and meditation to process what your body remembers but your mind does not. Naruto sank down across from her, suddenly aware of how drained he felt. The brief fight had pushed him harder than he'd realized. You know more than you're telling me, he said. About what happened to me. About why I disappeared. Ophis's gaze was unreadable. I know theories, not certainties. The cosmos fractured when you vanished. Great Red claimed the dimensional gap. I was driven from my home. The balance was lost. And you want to restore it? Yes. Why? What's in it for you? The question seemed to surprise her slightly. In for me? You speak like a human. I feel pretty human right now, Naruto admitted. You are not. That form is a fraction of your true self. She leaned forward slightly. As for what I gain, silence. Peace. Home. The simplicity of her answer struck Naruto deeply. Despite her emotionless delivery, he sensed a profound loneliness behind her words. And what do I gain by remembering? By becoming this dragon god again? Everything you were. Everything you could be. She paused, then added, freedom from limitations you were never meant to have. Naruto closed his eyes, trying to sort through the fragments of memory that had surfaced during the fight. I need to understand what happened before I decide anything. Then rest, Ophis said. When you wake, we will begin properly. Despite his many questions, exhaustion overtook Naruto. He lay down on the tatami floor, and within moments, drifted into dreams filled with golden scales and endless skies. Naruto woke to the sound of rain pattering against the roof. The house was dark save for a single paper lantern that cast soft shadows across the room. Ophis sat in exactly the same position as before, eyes closed in meditation. "How long was I asleep?" he asked, sitting up. 14 hours, she replied without opening her eyes. "Your human form required recovery time." Naruto stretched, surprised to find he felt completely restored. More than that, he felt stronger, as if something had unlocked while he slept. "I had dreams," he said. "About flying through emptiness. About creating stars." Ophis opened her eyes. "Not dreams. Memories. That's impossible. No one can create stars." "You did. We did. Before time as mortals measure it." Naruto stood, pacing the room restlessly. "This is crazy. You're talking about gods, about creation itself." "Yes." Her simple confirmation made it sound like the most natural thing in the world. "Prove it," he challenged. "Prove what you are." Ophis tilted her head, considering the request. Then she stood, her small form somehow seeming to grow taller without actually changing size. "Very well." The air around her shimmered, reality itself bending as her human form blurred. In its place rose a massive serpent, black as the void between stars, with scales that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. Its eyes glowed with power older than the earth itself. Naruto fell back, overwhelmed by the sheer presence before him. This was Ophis's true form, the infinite dragon god. Yet even as fear shot through him, recognition flared stronger. This was familiar. This was right. The serpent contracted, shrinking back into the form of the gothic Lolita girl. "Does that satisfy you?" Naruto nodded, speechless for a moment. I felt something. When you changed. Like part of me wanted to change too. Of course. We are connected by nature. 3 aspects of primal dragon energy: infinity, dreams, and creation. If I'm so powerful, why can't I transform like you just did? Ophis moved to a small chest in the corner of the room, opening it to remove an ancient scroll. "Because you are bound. Sealed. Fragmented. By who? Who could seal a god? Only a god can bind a god." She unrolled the scroll on the floor, revealing complex diagrams and writing in a language Naruto somehow understood despite never having seen it before. "You did this to yourself." Naruto stared at the scroll, then at Ophis. "That's insane. Why would I seal my own power?" "That is what we must discover." She pointed to the center of the diagram. "These are dragon suppression seals of a complexity beyond even my full comprehension. They bear your energy signature." Naruto knelt beside the scroll, tracing the patterns with his finger. Knowledge flickered at the edges of his consciousness. He understood these formations, these energy flows. He had created them. "I remember pieces," he murmured. "There was a threat, something that even we couldn't defeat directly." He looked up at Ophis. "But I can't see what it was." "The memory will return in time." Ophis rolled up the scroll. "For now, we must focus on breaking enough seals to protect you from immediate threats." "Like who?" "More fallen angels. Far worse. Devils have been mobilizing since your energy signature appeared. The old Satan faction in particular would seek to control or destroy you before you regain your strength." "Old Satan faction?" Ophis explained the current political landscape of the supernatural world, the uneasy peace between angels, fallen angels, and devils, the civil war that had split devil society, the various factions and alliances that had formed in recent centuries. "You've been watching all this happen?" Naruto asked when she finished. "I observe. I rarely intervene." She paused. "Until now." "Why now? Why me?" For the first time, Ophis seemed genuinely hesitant. "Because without you, the balance cannot be restored. Great Red dominates the dimensional gap, my home. I cannot reclaim it alone. So I'm a tool to help you get what you want, Naruto said flatly. No. The word came out sharper than her usual monotone. You are necessary for completion. Before Naruto could question her further, he sensed a disturbance, multiple energy signatures approaching the barrier around their hideaway. Someone found us, he said, rising to his feet. Ophis nodded. Devils. Strong ones. I thought you said this place was hidden. It is. They must have tracked our energy from the confrontation with the fallen angels. She moved toward the door. We have options. Fight. Flee. Or use this as an opportunity. Naruto considered. Running felt wrong on a fundamental level. And while fighting might trigger more of his sealed abilities, it also risked exposure before he was ready. What kind of opportunity? Devils respect power and deals, Ophis said. We could negotiate. Learn what they know. They have extensive archives that might contain information about your disappearance. Naruto nodded slowly. All right. Let's talk to them. Ophis waved her hand, and the barrier around the house thinned just enough to allow entry. Minutes later, the door slid open to reveal a tall man with crimson hair and aristocratic features, flanked by several other devils in formal attire. Ophis, the man greeted with a respectful bow. This is an unexpected honor. Sirs Lucifer, she acknowledged. You bring many guards to a peaceful meeting. The devil, apparently one of the leaders Ophis had mentioned, smiled diplomatically. Merely a precaution when approaching powers of your caliber. His eyes shifted to Naruto. And your companion, whose energy has caused quite a stir. Naruto stepped forward. I'm Naruto. And I'm guessing you're not just here for introductions. Sirs X's smile didn't waver. Direct. I appreciate that. He gestured to his companions. May we enter fully? What we have to discuss is best done sitting down. Ophis nodded once, and the devils entered, arranging themselves formally on cushions that one of them conjured with magic. I'll be equally direct, Sirs X said once they were settled. Your emergence has triggered every mystical alarm system in Japan. The energy signature you emit is troubling in its implications. Troubling how? Naruto asked. One of the other devils, a woman with silver hair and a stern expression, answered. It contains elements similar to the two heavenly dragons, but also components we've never recorded. The pattern suggests primordial dragon energy. And that's bad because the only known primordial dragons are Ophis and Great Red, Sirs X explained. And they are forces of such magnitude that their full awakening could destabilize reality itself. Naruto glanced at Ophis, who remained expressionless. I'm not looking to destabilize anything, he said. I'm just trying to figure out who I am. Who you are is precisely our concern, Sirs X replied. Particularly given Ophis's interest in you. Another devil leaned forward, an elegant man with green hair. The Cows Brigade has been unusually active since your appearance. If Ophis intends to use you as part of her organization. I have dissolved my connection to the Cows Brigade, Ophis interrupted. They served a purpose. That purpose has changed. This news clearly surprised the devils. Sirs X recovered first. That is, significant information. May I ask what changed? Ophis's gaze flicked to Naruto. Priorities. The silver-haired woman frowned. You expect us to believe you've abandoned your obsession with removing Great Red from the dimensional gap? After centuries of manipulating factions toward that goal? I did not say that. Ophis's voice remained flat. The method has changed. The goal remains. Naruto watched this exchange with growing understanding. Ophis had been using terrorist groups to achieve her aims. Yet she'd abandoned them upon finding him. Whatever connection existed between them, it clearly superseded her other plans. Surzex turned his attention back to Naruto. What exactly do you remember of your origins? Not much, Naruto admitted. Fragments. Feelings. Power I can't fully access. But enough to fight 11 fallen angels without killing them, the green-haired devil noted. Impressive restraint for someone with amnesia. Combat instincts remain when memories fade, Naruto said, echoing Azazel's earlier observation. Indeed. Surzex studied him intently. Forgive my bluntness, but we need to establish whether you represent a threat to the fragile peace we've established. Naruto met his gaze steadily. I don't want trouble. But I will defend myself if attacked. Fair enough. Surzex glanced at his companions before continuing. The Devil Council is divided on how to proceed. Some advocate for preemptive measures. Others, myself included, prefer diplomacy. What kind of diplomacy? An exchange. We offer resources to help recover your memories, access to our archives, magical assistance, protection from those who would exploit your current vulnerability. In return, you agree to certain restrictions on your activities and provide information as your memories return. Before Naruto could respond, the building shook violently. Outside, explosions lit up the night sky as the barrier around the property came under massive attack. Surzex was on his feet instantly. This isn't our doing. Ophis moved to the window. Old Satan faction. Led by Rizavim. The name meant nothing to Naruto, but the devils reacted with alarm. Rizavim Levon Lucifer, the silver-haired woman said grimly. Surzex's uncle and the most dangerous devil alive. If he's here personally. Another explosion rocked the house, and part of the roof collapsed. Through the gap, Naruto saw figures descending, dozens of devils with magic circles blazing around them. Surzex turned to his guards. Secure the perimeter. This is now an official underworld security operation. To Naruto and Ophis, he added, whatever our disagreements, Rizavim is a threat to all factions. We'll hold them off while you escape. Naruto looked to Ophis. We can't just run. We will not, she agreed. Rizavim possesses knowledge that may be useful to us. This is the opportunity one mentioned. The house was disintegrating around them as magical attacks intensified. Surzex and his guards teleported outside to engage the attackers, leaving Naruto and Ophis momentarily alone. What's the plan? Naruto asked. You will fight, Ophis said simply. When threatened sufficiently, more seals will break. Your power will grow. And you? I will observe. Rizavim fears me enough to keep his distance. He will focus on capturing you. It wasn't much of a plan, but Naruto had nothing better. He felt the trickle of power inside him growing stronger in response to the danger, golden energy flowing through his veins, enhancing his senses and reflexes. All right, he said, rolling his shoulders. Let's see what this Rizavim guy wants so badly. He leapt through the collapsed roof, landing in the middle of a chaotic battlefield. Devils fought devils, Surzex's forces against what must be the old Satan faction. Magic of various elements filled the air, alongside weapons of light and darkness. Naruto spotted Surzex instantly. The crimson-haired devil was wreaking havoc, his power of destruction erasing everything it touched. But even he seemed to be holding back, likely concerned about collateral damage. A slow clapping drew Naruto's attention. At the edge of the clearing stood a man who could only be Rizavim, white-haired, aristocratic, with a face that might have been handsome if not for the cruelty etched into every feature. The man of the hour. Rizavim called out cheerfully. Or should I say, the dragon of the hour. So much power locked away in such an unassuming package. Naruto approached cautiously. You know what I am. I have theories. Fascinating ones. Rizavim's smile didn't reach his eyes. Care to confirm them for me? Are you truly the third dragon god? The missing piece of the primordial trinity? The question hit Naruto like a physical blow. This devil knew, or suspected, the truth. How do you know about that? Oh, I've spent millennia studying the oldest texts, the forbidden records. Legends of a time before time, when 3 dragons shaped reality itself. Rizavim's eyes gleamed with malicious intelligence. Ophis, the infinite. Great Red, the illusion. And a third, whose name was struck from every record, who vanished so completely that even the gods forgot. Around them, the battle continued, but neither paid it much attention. Naruto sensed Ophis nearby, watching, waiting. What do you want from me? Naruto demanded. Want? Why, to help you, of course. Rizavim spread his arms wide. Those seals binding your power, I can break them. I've spent centuries perfecting dragon binding magic. Breaking such bindings is simply the reverse. At what cost? Rizavim laughed. Smart boy. Nothing comes free, does it? In exchange, I want a fraction of your power once it's restored. Just a tiny drop from an endless ocean. Enough. To pursue my own projects. Every instinct screamed that this devil was lying, that his intentions were far darker than he claimed. But he clearly knew things, possibly things even Ophis didn't know. Tell me what happened to me, Naruto said. Why I disappeared. Why I sealed myself. Something flashed in Rizavim's eyes, triumph. Ah, so Ophis hasn't told you that part. Interesting. He took a step closer. There was a war, you see. Not the great war that the younger races remember, but something far older. A conflict between creation and destruction. Images flickered through Naruto's mind, vast beings clashing across dimensions, power that dwarfed anything in the current world. The enemy came from outside, Rizavim continued, his voice dropping to a near whisper. A force that threatened even the dragon gods. You couldn't defeat it directly. So you implemented a desperate strategy, fragmentation. You scattered your essence across dimensions, hiding the bulk of your power where the enemy couldn't find it. The words resonated with Naruto's fractured memories, filling in gaps that had been tormenting him. This enemy, what was it called? Rizavim's smile widened. That depends on which text you read. The unbeing. The void that hungers. Trihexa. Names are such limited things for primordial horrors, don't you think? Trihexa, Naruto repeated. The name triggered a surge of power within him, one of the seals cracking slightly under the pressure of awakening memory. Rizavim noticed the change immediately. Yes. You remember, don't you? The 666 beast. The only entity the biblical god ever truly feared. A massive explosion interrupted them as Surzex broke through a group of enemy devils, heading straight for Rizavim. Enough of your lies, uncle, the Crimson Devil shouted. Rizavim sighed dramatically. Always interrupting at the best part. How rude. He snapped his fingers, and a complex magic circle appeared beneath Naruto. Consider my offer. When you're ready to learn more, use this to contact me. With that, he vanished just as Surzex reached them, teleporting away with most of his forces. Naruto stared at the spot where the magic circle had been, now imprinted in his memory. Surzex approached cautiously. Whatever he offered you, refuse it, the Devil Lord warned. Rizavim manipulates everyone for his own amusement. He causes suffering for its own sake. He knew things, Naruto said quietly. About what happened to me. Mixed with lies, no doubt. Surzex looked around at the devastated landscape. We need to leave this area. It's no longer secure. Ophis materialized beside them. He spoke of Trihexa. Surzex's expression darkened. That alone confirms his dangerous intent. Trihexa is sealed away. Any attempt to locate or free it would doom all realms. What exactly is Trihexa? Naruto asked. The Apocalypse Beast, Surzex replied grimly. A primordial entity of such destructive power that God himself sacrificed his life to seal it away. Even now, it requires multiple divine locking mechanisms to contain it. Naruto felt cold certainty settling in his gut. That's why I sealed myself. To help contain it somehow. Ophis tilted her head. Possible. The timing aligns with your disappearance. If that's true, Surzex said, then Rizavim's interest in you is even more alarming. He's been researching apocalyptic scenarios for centuries. The battle had ended, with the remaining enemy forces retreating or captured. Surzex's guards approached, many wounded but none fatally. We need a new plan, Naruto said. Somewhere safe to figure things out before Rizavim or someone else tries again. Surzex nodded. I have a proposal. There's a town called Kuo, where my sister oversees a territory. It has multiple layers of protection and monitoring systems. A devil stronghold? Naruto asked skeptically. A neutral zone, technically. We maintain a school there, Kuo Academy. It serves as cover for supernatural activities while allowing young devils to experience human society. Naruto glanced at Ophis, who gave an almost imperceptible nod. It has strategic advantages, she said. Multiple factions observe the area, which would deter direct attacks. You'd be hidden in plain sight, Surzex added. We could create an identity for you, student, teacher, whatever role suits best. The idea had merit. A public location with multiple supernatural factions watching would make it harder for Rizavim to make another move. Plus, the structure of a school would provide cover while Naruto continued recovering his memories and powers. Alright, Naruto agreed. But on my terms. I'm not aligning with Devil Society or any other faction. Understood, Surzex said. Consider it a mutually beneficial arrangement rather than an alliance. We gain information about Rizavim's plans, you gain protection and resources. Ophis spoke up. I will come and go as needed. Surzex looked like he wanted to object but thought better of it. Very well. We'll make the arrangements immediately. As the devils prepared transportation circles, Naruto pulled Ophis aside. Was Rizavim telling the truth? About why I sealed myself? She considered the question carefully. Partially. The existence of Trihexa is fact. Your connection to its sealing is, likely, but unconfirmed. And you didn't tell me this because premature information can damage memory recovery. Her expression remained neutral, but Naruto sensed something like concern beneath it. Some memories are better approached gradually. You're worried about what I'll remember. For a long moment, Ophis was silent. Then, yes. The simple admission surprised him. Why? She turned to face him fully, her gray eyes meeting his blue ones. Because when you remember everything, you may choose to leave again. And the balance will remain broken. There it was, vulnerability from a being who had existed since before time. Not just concern for cosmic balance, but for what his choices would mean for her. Before Naruto could respond, Surzex called them over. The transportation circle is ready. It will take us directly to Kuo Academy. As they stepped onto the glowing magic circle, Naruto felt another seal within him crack slightly, not breaking completely, but weakening. More power flowed through him, along with more fragmented memories. In one of them, he saw 3 dragons soaring through primordial emptiness, one black as the void, one crimson as dreams, and himself, golden as creation itself. They moved in perfect harmony, 3 aspects of a greater whole. The memory faded as the transportation magic activated, but the feeling it evoked remained. Connection. Belonging. Purpose. Whatever he had been, whatever he would become again, Naruto knew one thing with growing certainty: his fate was intertwined with Ophis in ways even gods might struggle to understand. Kuo Academy stood silent in the pre-dawn hours, its grounds empty save for a small group that appeared in a flash of magic near the old school building. "Welcome to Kuo," Surzek said. "This building houses the Occult Research Club, my sister Rias's base of operations. It has the strongest protective barriers on campus." Naruto took in his surroundings, a beautiful old Victorian-style structure surrounded by trees, set apart from the more modern main school buildings. It felt right somehow. Comfortable. "I've enrolled you as a second-year transfer student," Surzek continued. "Classes start in 3 days, which gives us time to establish your background and prepare you for integration." "A student?" Naruto raised an eyebrow. "I look a bit old for high school." "You appear to be approximately 17 or 18 in human terms," Ophis observed. "Appropriate for the role." Surzek led them inside the building, which was far more luxurious than its exterior suggested. Rich furnishings, antique furniture, and magical artifacts decorated the main room. "My sister and her peerage are currently away on a training exercise," he explained. "They'll return tomorrow. I've informed her only that you're a special case under my protection. The details of your true nature remain restricted information." "And where will I stay until then?" Naruto asked. Surzek gestured to a door. "There are living quarters upstairs. You'll have a room here, and we've also secured an apartment nearby for longer-term use." As they settled in, discussing logistics and cover stories, Naruto felt the strange sense of rightness growing stronger. This place, this role, it resonated with him in unexpected ways. "You've done this before," Ophis said quietly while Surzek was occupied with a communication circle. "Done what?" "Lived among humans. Attended their schools. It was your habit in many cycles." Another memory surfaced. Naruto saw himself in different times, different places, always learning, always adapting to the societies he moved through. Why would a dragon god bother with human experiences, he wondered aloud. Ophis tilted her head. "That was what always separated you from Great Red and myself. You wanted to understand your creations from within. We remained apart, observing from outside. And you think that made me weaker?" "Different," she corrected. "Perhaps stronger in ways we could not comprehend." Surzek returned, concluding their conversation. "Everything's arranged. You'll have documentation, background records, and all necessities by tomorrow." He handed Naruto a small communication device. "This will allow you to contact me directly if needed." After setting up the final security measures and making sure Naruto was comfortable with the arrangements, Surzek prepared to depart. "One last thing," the Devil Lord said. "Azazel will want that meeting you promised him. How do you want to handle it?" Naruto had almost forgotten about the fallen angel leader. "I'll honor the agreement. 3 days, like I said." Surzek nodded. "I'll arrange it. Neutral ground, with appropriate precautions." After the devil teleported away, Naruto and Ophis were left alone in the quiet building. "Will you stay?" Naruto asked her. "Not continuously," she replied. "My presence draws attention. I will come when needed." Naruto nodded, understanding the logic but feeling strangely disappointed. "Before you go, there's something I need to know." Ophis waited silently. "What were we to each other? Before I disappeared?" The question seemed to catch her off guard. For several moments, she stood perfectly still, her expression unreadable. Finally, she said, "We were connected. More deeply than beings of lesser existence could comprehend." That's not really an answer. A hint of something, frustration, uncertainty, flickered across her face. Human words are insufficient. We were separate entities united by shared nature. 3 who functioned as one when needed. But Great Red, you're enemies now. Not enemies. Opposed. There is a difference. She moved toward the window, looking out at the lightning sky. When you vanished, balance was lost. Great Red claimed dominion over the gap. I was displaced. And you've been trying to get back ever since. Yes. Naruto joined her at the window. But that doesn't explain why you helped me. Why you're still helping me. You could have just tried to use my power without bothering to help me recover my memories or identity. Ophis turned to face him, and for the first time, Naruto saw genuine emotion in her eyes, a complexity of feeling that belied her childlike appearance. Some connections transcend time and circumstance, she said simply. Even for beings like us. With that cryptic statement, she stepped backward into a spatial tear that hadn't been there a moment before, vanishing from sight. Naruto stood alone at the window, watching as dawn broke over Kuo. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, integration into school life, meeting Rias Gremory and her peerage, the promised meeting with Azazel. But for now, in this moment of quiet, Naruto focused on the feeling that had been growing since he first saw Ophis, a sense of recognition so profound it transcended memory. Whatever they had been to each other in the past, whatever they might become in the future, the connection between them felt like the one true constant in his uncertain existence. As the first rays of sunlight touched his face, Naruto made a decision. He would continue playing along with Surzex's plan, using the protection and resources offered. But his primary goal remained unchanged: recover his true nature, understand his purpose, and determine his relationship to Ophis and Great Red. The fact that this path might lead to confrontation with Rizavim and possibly connection to the sealed apocalypse beast, Trihexa, was a complication he'd have to navigate carefully. For now, though, Naruto allowed himself a small smile as he gazed out at what would temporarily be his new home. Dragon god or not, there was something appealingly normal about the thought of school life, a structure and simplicity that contrasted sharply with the cosmic complexities he was beginning to remember. Tomorrow would come soon enough, with all its challenges and revelations. Today, he would rest, meditate, and prepare for whatever awaited the awakening primordial dragon god in the deceptively peaceful town of Kuo. Chapter 2, Convergence. Morning sunlight filtered through the window of Naruto's temporary room in the Occult Research Club building. 3 days had passed since his arrival at Kuo Academy, 3 days of preparation, orientation, and unexpected normalcy. He stood before a mirror, adjusting the school uniform that still felt strange on his body. White shirt, black blazer, matching pants, standard issue for male students. Something about the routine felt both foreign and familiar, like a half-remembered dream. This is ridiculous, he muttered to his reflection. I'm supposedly some ancient dragon god, and I'm worried about looking good for school. But the disguise made strategic sense. Hiding in plain sight while he recovered his memories and power would keep Rizavim guessing. Plus, the school's wards would alert him to threats long before they became immediate dangers. A soft knock interrupted his thoughts. Enter, he called. The door opened to reveal a beautiful young woman with long crimson hair, Rias Gremory, sister to Surzex and heiress to the Gremory clan. Behind her stood a petite white-haired girl whose neutral expression reminded Naruto vaguely of Ophis. Good morning, Naruto-kun, Rias greeted with a polite smile. Are you ready for your first day? As ready as I'll ever be, he replied, grabbing his school bag. Thanks again for the arrangements. Rias waved off his gratitude. Any friend of my brother's deserves our hospitality. Her eyes held curiosity she was too diplomatic to voice. Surzex had shared minimal information about Naruto's identity, only that he was an important guest requiring protection and integration. This is Kaneko, Rias introduced the white-haired girl. She'll be showing you around today. Kaneko nodded once, her golden eyes studying him with suspicion. You smell strange, she said bluntly. Kaneko. Rias admonished. Naruto laughed. It's fine. I probably do smell strange to a Nekashu. Both girls stiffened in surprise. How did you, Rias began. Just a guess, Naruto replied smoothly. In truth, he hadn't consciously known Kaneko's nature, the knowledge had simply been there when he needed it, like the pressure points he'd used against the fallen angels. More fragments of his old self emerging. "We should go," Kaneko said, breaking the awkward moment. "Class starts soon." They left the old school building, crossing the immaculate grounds toward the main academy structure. Students turned to stare, partly at Rias, whose beauty and status made her a campus celebrity, and partly at the unfamiliar blonde accompanying her. "People are watching," Naruto observed. "They always do," Rias sighed. "Being a Gremory comes with constant attention. You'll get used to it." "I'm not sure I want to." "Too late now," Kaneko muttered. "You're already part of the rumor mill." Sure enough, whispers followed them across the courtyard. "Who's the new guy with Gremory-senpai?" "Transfer student, I heard. From overseas. Look at those weird marks on his face." Naruto touched his whisker marks self-consciously. He'd forgotten how conspicuous they were among humans. "Ignore them," Rias advised. "School gossip dies quickly when something new comes along." At the entrance to the main building, Rias left them, heading toward the third-year classrooms while Kaneko led Naruto to Class 2B. Outside the door, she stopped. "Gremory-senpai might trust you because her brother said to," she said quietly, "but I don't. Your aura feels dangerous." Naruto met her gaze. "Smart instincts. But I'm not here to cause trouble." "Everyone says that. Then trouble finds them anyway." With that cryptic warning, she slid the door open. "Sensei, the transfer student is here." The teacher, a middle-aged man with glasses, waved Naruto in. "Ah yes, perfect timing. Class, we have a new student joining us today." 30 pairs of eyes fixed on Naruto as he entered. The sensation of being watched triggered something primal inside him, a dragon's instinct to either dominate or destroy those who dared stare too directly. He pushed the feeling down, forcing a smile instead. "I'm Uzumaki Naruto. Just moved here from." He faltered momentarily as his cover story surfaced in his mind, Northern Japan. Looking forward to getting to know everyone. Simple. Vague. Forgettable. Just as Surzex had advised. The teacher directed him to an empty seat by the window, and class resumed. Naruto found himself absorbing the material effortlessly, mathematics, literature, history, as if he'd studied it all before. Perhaps he had, in other lives, other cycles through human civilization. When lunch break came, students swarmed his desk with questions. "Where exactly are you from? What are those marks on your face? Do you know Rias Gremory personally?" Naruto fielded them with practiced ease, giving answers that satisfied curiosity without revealing anything substantial. The interrogation might have continued indefinitely if a cold, familiar presence hadn't brushed against his senses. Ophis. She wasn't physically present, but her energy touched his consciousness, a silent call. Something important had happened. "Excuse me," he said to his impromptu welcome committee. "Need some air." He slipped away from the classroom, moving through the school until he found a quiet spot behind the gym building. There, hidden from casual observation, he opened his mind to Ophis's call. "What's happened?" he projected mentally. Her response came not in words but in images, devils moving through Tokyo, searching, fallen angels gathering in Kuo town, and most alarmingly, rise of a meeting with robed figures whose faces remained shadowed. "They're looking for something," Naruto realized. "Something connected to me." Ophis confirmed with a pulse of agreement. The mental connection faded with a final impression, meet after sunset. Naruto returned to class, his mind racing. The peaceful school routine suddenly felt like an ill-fitting disguise. He needed to accelerate his recovery, not play student while enemies mobilized. The afternoon dragged until final bell. As students rushed out, Naruto felt another presence, different from Ophis but equally supernatural. He turned to find a handsome young man with blonde hair watching him from the doorway. "Kiba Yuto," the boy introduced himself with a practiced smile. "Riasbucho asked me to escort you to the club room." "Another devil," Naruto noted. This one felt like a sword wielder, his aura had sharp edges. "Lead the way," Naruto said. They walked in silence until reaching the old school building. Inside the main club room, Ria sat behind an ornate desk, her entire peerage assembled around her. Besides Kaneko and Kiba, there was a voluptuous dark-haired girl and a brown-haired boy who radiated strange draconic energy. "How was your first day?" Rias asked pleasantly. "Educational," Naruto replied. "Though not in the ways you might expect." Rias's smile remained, but her eyes sharpened. "Oh. Do elaborate." "Multiple supernatural factions are searching for something in Japan. Something connected to me." He glanced around the room. "I assume your brother keeps you informed about my situation." "To an extent," Rias admitted. "Though I suspect he omitted significant details." "Typical," the dark-haired girl murmured. Rias introduced her peerage fully: Akino Himejima, her queen; Yudo Kiba, her knight; Kaneko Tuju, her rook; and Issei Hayadu, her pawn, who apparently hosted one of the two heavenly dragons, Drake. That explained the draconic energy Naruto had sensed. A fragment of much greater power, sealed in a sacred gear. Something about Issei's situation felt uncomfortably parallel to his own. "Naruto-san isn't human, is he?" Issei blurted out, earning a reproachful look from Rias. "No," Naruto confirmed. "Though at the moment, I'm not entirely sure what I am." He gave them an abbreviated version of his situation, awakening with fragmented memories, the interest from various factions, his arrangement with Surzex. He omitted mentions of being a dragon god or his connection to Ophis and Great Red. "Amnesia?" Akino questioned skeptically. "How convenient." "Believe what you want," Naruto shrugged. "But Surzex placed me here for a reason. Rizavim Levon Lucifer is hunting me, and that puts everyone in this town at risk." That name dropped like a stone in water. Even Kaneko's stoic expression faltered. "My uncle," Rias said grimly. "What does he want with you?" "My power. My knowledge." "Both, probably." Naruto moved to the window, sensing the approaching sunset. "Look, I appreciate the hospitality, but I have somewhere to be tonight." "The protection arrangement requires you to remain on campus after dark," Kiba pointed out. "Protection goes both ways," Naruto countered. "The longer I stay in one place, the more danger I bring to this school." Rias stood. "My brother would never place his students at risk without reason. Whatever power you possess, he believes it's worth protecting. Or worth controlling," Naruto said quietly. The atmosphere tensed. Issei's left arm, the one containing Drake, glowed faintly green. "He senses something in you, wielder of Drake," a voice whispered in Naruto's mind. Not Ophis this time, but his own draconic instincts awakening. Dragon recognizes dragon, even across such vast differences in scale. Naruto took a breath, calming the rising energy within him. "I'm not your enemy. But I can't stay caged here while threats gather." After a tense moment, Rias nodded. "Very well. But take Kiba with you." "No." Naruto's refusal came sharper than intended. "Where I'm going, your knight would be in danger." "Then at least take this." Rias handed him a small magic circle engraved on paper. "For emergency communication." Naruto accepted it as a gesture of goodwill, then turned to leave. At the door, he paused. "One more thing. If you sense unusual energy tonight, don't investigate. Stay here, behind your barriers." With that warning, he left, feeling their confusion and suspicion following him like shadows. Twilight painted Kuo in purple and gold as Naruto made his way to the city outskirts. Urban sprawl gave way to forested hills where modern Japan faded into older, wilder landscapes. Here, where human presence thinned, supernatural energy flowed more freely. He found Ophis waiting in a clearing. She stood motionless, her Gothic Lolita dress incongruous against the ancient trees. You came alone, she observed. They wanted to send a babysitter. Naruto stopped a few paces from her. What's happening? Rizabim searches for fragments of your power. When you sealed yourself, pieces scattered across dimensions. Some landed in this world. The news sent a chill through Naruto. What kind of fragments? Crystallized memory. Power artifacts. Extensions of your consciousness. Ophis tilted her head. Did you think your awakening was coincidence? One such fragment activated, drawing your essence back to this realm. And Rizabim can use these fragments to track you. To understand you. Her eyes narrowed slightly. Potentially to control you, if he gathers enough. Naruto paced the clearing, processing this. So we need to find these fragments before he does. Yes. But first, you must recover more of your sealed power. You are too weak to confront Rizabim directly. The blunt assessment stung, but Naruto couldn't argue. His current power, while substantial by human or even devil standards, remained a trickle compared to what he sensed locked away inside himself. How do we break more seals? Combat. Extreme stress. Deep meditation. Ophis gestured to the clearing. Tonight, we try the third approach. She waved her hand, and reality rippled around them. The forest disappeared, replaced by endless emptiness, not darkness, but the absence of everything. Only a small platform of solid matter remained beneath their feet. The dimensional gap. Naruto guessed. A shadow of it. A pocket I've created that mimics its properties without drawing Great Red's attention. Naruto sat cross-legged on the platform, feeling the strange non-reality pressing against him from all sides. What now? Close your eyes. Reach inward, past the human shell, past the seals, to your true nature. He obeyed, sinking into meditation. At first, he found only darkness and the steady rhythm of his borrowed human heart. But gradually, as minutes stretched to hours, he sensed something beneath, a vast golden sea of power, restrained by chains of his own making. The seals appeared in his mind's eye, complex, multi-layered constructs that transcended normal dimensions. He reached for the outermost layer, prodding gently. It responded to his touch, recognizing its creator. These seals, he murmured, eyes still closed. They're designed to release gradually based on specific triggers. I never meant them to be permanent. As I suspected, Ophis replied. What triggers? Naruto concentrated harder. Time is one factor. But also, proximity to certain energies. To you. His eyes snapped open. And to Great Red. The seals weaken in the presence of the other dragon gods. Then we must accelerate the process. Ophis raised her hand, and pure draconic energy flowed from her, the essence of infinity, dark and boundless. It washed over Naruto like a tidal wave. His body seized as the foreign yet familiar power collided with his sealed energy. Pain lanced through every nerve as the outermost seal cracked, not breaking entirely, but weakening significantly. He gasped, doubling over as golden light leaked through his skin, illuminating the void around them. Memories crashed through his mind, flying through primordial chaos with Ophis and Great Red, three aspects of draconic divinity shaping reality itself. Creating the dimensional barriers that separated mortal realms from higher planes. The first encounter with Trihexa, a horror from beyond existence that threatened to unmake everything. The desperate plan to fragment and hide, to preserve enough power to eventually return and finish what they had started. When the rush subsided, Naruto found himself on his hands and knees, breathing hard. Ophis knelt beside him, her usual expressionless face showing a hint of concern. You remember more now, she stated. Yes. Naruto sat back, feeling new power flowing through his veins. Not his full strength, not even close, but significantly more than before. We were trying to seal Trihexa. We succeeded, partially, but the cost. Was your separation from us, Ophis finished. You became the final lock in Trihexa's prison. Not me directly, but fragments of my power. I scattered myself across dimensions, hiding the keys where even Trihexa's influence couldn't reach. Naruto looked at his hands, which now glowed faintly with golden energy. But something went wrong. I was supposed to maintain consciousness, to watch over the seals from afar. Something interfered, Ophis confirmed. Someone. Rise of him? No. He is merely an opportunist who discovered fragments of the truth. The interference came from higher realms. Before Naruto could question further, the pocket dimension shuddered violently. Cracks appeared in the emptiness, as if reality itself was breaking. We're being pulled back, Ophis said calmly. Your power surge has drawn attention. The void collapsed around them, and suddenly they were back in the forest clearing. But they weren't alone. Figures surrounded them, a dozen fallen angels, wings extended, light spears ready. At their center stood Azazel, his expression a mixture of fascination and alarm. When you didn't show for our scheduled meeting, the Governor-General said, I decided to come looking. Imagine my surprise when I detected Ophis's dimensional manipulation right here in my jurisdiction. Naruto rose slowly to his feet, feeling his newly awakened power responding to the perceived threat. Golden energy danced across his skin like lightning. Stand down, he told the fallen angels. We're not looking for a fight. Neither am I, Azazel assured him. But you can't expect me to ignore what just happened. The energy spike you just produced registered on monitoring systems across Japan. Every faction leader will be asking questions. Let them ask. They'll do more than ask if they feel threatened. Azazel dismissed his subordinates with a gesture, stepping forward alone. Whatever you are, and I'm starting to form theories, you're becoming too visible. The balance is delicate right now. Naruto glanced at Ophis, who remained impassive. Balance has always been my concern, Azazel. More than you know. Then enlighten me. That was our agreement, wasn't it? Information in exchange for non-interference. The fallen angel leader had a point. Naruto had promised this meeting, and Azazel had been straightforward in their previous encounter, unusual for a faction leader. What do you know about Trihexa? Naruto asked. Azazel's casual demeanor vanished instantly. Where did you hear that name? From Rise of him. And from my own memories. Memories that shouldn't exist in any being younger than God himself. Azazel's eyes narrowed. Just what are you, Naruto? Ophis answered before Naruto could. He is the primordial dragon god. The third aspect of draconic divinity. Creator and first one. Silence fell over the clearing as Azazel processed this bombshell. His eyes darted between them, calculating, reassessing. That's not possible, he finally said. There are only two dragon gods, Ophis and Great Red. All texts confirm this. All texts were written after he disappeared, Ophis pointed out. History forgets what it cannot comprehend. Azazel focused on Naruto, studying him with new intensity. If, and that's a massive if, what you're claiming is true, it would rewrite our understanding of cosmic hierarchy. He spread his hands. Prove it. I don't need to prove anything to you, Naruto replied, but even as he spoke, he felt the newly awakened power surging, eager for expression. He raised his hand, channeling a fraction of his recovered energy. Reality rippled around his fingers as he reached into the underlying fabric of existence. With a gesture that felt as natural as breathing, he condensed ambient energy into solid form, a perfect sphere of swirling golden light that contained a miniature galaxy. Creation, he said simply, letting the sphere float above his palm. My domain, as infinity is Ophis's and dreams are Great Red's. Azazel stared, transfixed. Within the sphere, stars formed and died, planets coalesced from cosmic dust, life evolved and perished, all in accelerated time, a microcosm of universal processes. Incredible, the fallen angel whispered. True creation ex nihilo. Not illusion or reconstruction, but fundamental manipulation of reality itself. Naruto closed his fist, and the sphere dissolved back into ambient energy. The display had cost him, he felt the newly unlocked power draining, his reserves still limited by the remaining seals. Now you know, he said. The question is, what will you do with that knowledge? Azazel took a moment to collect himself. Information this significant would normally go straight to the Alliance leadership. But given the potential panic it could cause, he trailed off, thinking. For now, I'll keep it between us. On condition that you maintain open communication with me about your activities. Reasonable, Naruto agreed. In return, I want information about Rizavim's movements and any artifacts he's collecting that might be connected to draconic energy. Done. Azazel extended his hand. Though I suspect this arrangement will get complicated fast. Naruto shook it, sealing their deal. As they touched, Azazel's eyes widened slightly, no doubt sensing the true extent of power still sealed within Naruto. One more thing, the fallen angel added. Stay in Kuo for now. It's easier to monitor the situation if you're in a known location. I'll consider it, Naruto replied non-committally. After Azazel departed, Naruto turned to Ophis. That was reckless, revealing my identity. Strategic, she corrected. Azazel values knowledge above politics. He will keep your secret while helping us track Rizavim's movements. And when Great Red learns I've returned. Ophis's expression darkened slightly. That confrontation is inevitable. But not yet. You are still too weak. The assessment rankled, but Naruto knew she was right. Against Great Red at his current power level, he wouldn't stand a chance. Let's head back, he said. I've got school tomorrow, apparently. Ophis actually blinked in surprise. You intend to maintain the human facade? For now. It's useful cover, and Kuo Academy's wards provide protection while I recover more strength. He stretched, feeling the new power settling into his partially human form. Besides, there's something almost nostalgic about it. You always did find mortal experiences, educational, Ophis observed, with what might have been the faintest trace of amusement. They walked through the darkened forest, an odd pair, the gothic Lolita dragon god and the teenage-looking primordial creator. Moonlight filtered through the trees, casting dappled shadows across their path. I remembered something about us, Naruto said after a while. About our relationship before I disappeared. Ophis glanced at him. Yes. We were connected. Not just allies or cosmic counterparts, but something deeper. He struggled to articulate the impression from his fractured memories. Like parts of the same existence, separated into different forms. Trinity in unity, Ophis nodded. 3 aspects, one underlying nature. But it was more than that with us, wasn't it? With you and me specifically. Ophis stopped walking, her gray eyes meeting his blue ones. For once, emotion flickered clearly across her face, a complex mixture of recognition, uncertainty, and something like yearning. Yes, she admitted softly. It was more. Before Naruto could press further, a disturbance rippled through the air, the unmistakable signature of a high-level devil teleportation circle. Surzek's Lucifer appeared before them, his usual diplomatic smile replaced by grave concern. There you are, the Mao said. We need to talk. Now. What's happened? Naruto asked, instantly alert. Rizavim has made his move. He's retrieved an artifact from a sealed vault in Europe, something called the Dragon Emperor's Crucible. The name struck Naruto like physical blow. Another memory surfaced, a golden device shaped like a chalice, designed to contain and channel primordial dragon energy. He can't use it, Naruto said, but uncertainty tinged his voice. It responds only to the original dragon gods. Apparently he's found a workaround, Surzek replied grimly. The artifact has been activated for the first time in recorded history. Its energy signature is visible from the underworld. Ophis's face darkened. This changes our timeline. If Rizavim has activated the crucible, he has found at least one significant fragment of your power. What exactly does this artifact do? Surzex asked. It was a tool I created, Naruto explained, piecing together returning memories. A way to focus and direct draconic energy across dimensional boundaries. In the wrong hands. It could be weaponized, Surzex finished. Against what targets? Anything. Everything. Naruto ran a hand through his hair, frustration mounting. But it requires tremendous power to operate, more than Rizavim should be able to channel. Unless he's using a fragment of your own power to fuel it, Ophis pointed out. The implications were staggering. If Rizavim could harness even a fraction of Naruto's true strength, the damage could be catastrophic. We need to move faster, Naruto decided. Break more seals, recover more fragments before he does. And how do you propose to do that? Surzex asked. Naruto and Ophis exchanged a look, a silent communication passing between them. I need to enter the dimensional gap, Naruto said. Confront Great Red directly. Surzex blanched. That's suicide, even for a being of your caliber. Great Red tolerates no intrusions in his domain. He'll tolerate this one, Naruto replied with conviction he didn't entirely feel. He'll recognize me, eventually. Or destroy you before recognition dawns, Ophis countered. You are not ready for direct confrontation. We're out of time for cautious approaches, Naruto argued. If Rizavim weaponizes the crucible, then we stop him first, Surzex interrupted. My intelligence network has located his current base of operations, an abandoned temple complex in the mountains north of Kyoto. A distraction, Ophis stated flatly. Too obvious. Perhaps, Surzex acknowledged. But worth investigating. If nothing else, we might recover information about his true objectives. The proposal had merit. Confronting Rizavim directly would be dangerous but potentially more productive than rushing unprepared into the dimensional gap. Alright, Naruto agreed. When do we move? Tomorrow night. I'll assemble a strike team from the Underworld's military division. Small, elite, capable of quick extraction if needed. Naruto nodded, though something felt off about the plan. Rizavim was too clever to be caught so easily. Still, the alternative, confronting Great Red while still heavily sealed, wasn't appealing either. I'll meet your team at the designated location, he said. But I'm not following Devil Chain of Command. Surzex smiled thinly. I wouldn't expect you to. Just try not to get my soldiers killed unnecessarily. With arrangements made, the Mao teleported away, leaving Naruto and Ophis alone once more. You don't trust his plan, Ophis observed. Not entirely. But it's better than nothing. Naruto resumed walking toward Ko Town. Will you join us tomorrow? No. I will pursue a different avenue of investigation. At Naruto's questioning look, she elaborated slightly. There are ways to track the resonance between draconic power fragments. I may locate others before Rizavim does. They reached the edge of town, where streetlights replaced moonlight and the presence of sleeping humans created background noise in Naruto's supernatural senses. This is where we part, Ophis said. Rest. Integrate the new power you've unlocked. We will reconvene after your confrontation with Rizavim's forces. Naruto wanted to say more, to ask about the something more that had existed between them, but Ophis had already stepped backward into a dimensional tear, vanishing before he could form the words. With a sigh, he turned toward his apartment near Kuo Academy. Tomorrow would bring conflict, possibly answers, and certainly complications. For now, sleep beckoned, a surprisingly human need that his partially awakened draconic nature still required. Morning arrived with unexpected normalcy. Naruto attended classes, fielded questions from curious classmates, and maintained his cover as an ordinary transfer student. The mundane routine felt surreal given what awaited him that night. During lunch, he found himself on the school roof, seeking solitude to process his evolving memories and plan for the evening's mission. He didn't remain alone for long. "Mind if I join you?" Naruto turned to find Issei Hayadu approaching cautiously. The boosted gear wielder carried his lunchbox, his expression a mixture of curiosity and apprehension. "Free country," Naruto shrugged, making space on the bench. Issei sat, fidgeting awkwardly before blurting out, "What are you, really?" "Bucho won't tell us, but Drake's been going crazy since you arrived." Naruto raised an eyebrow. "Drake? The Welsh dragon?" "Yeah." Issei raised his left arm where the sacred gear resided. "He says your energy feels familiar. Ancient. But he can't place why." "Interesting." Naruto considered how much to reveal. Issei seemed earnest, if somewhat clueless. "Let's just say I'm connected to draconic lineages in ways that exceed normal classifications." "That's not really an answer," Issei complained. "It's all you're getting for now." Naruto glanced at the gauntlet. "What exactly does Drake say about me?" Issei's arm glowed, and a deep voice emerged from the gauntlet. "I say you smell of creation itself, young one. Of times before time, when the void was still young." Naruto straightened, surprised at the direct communication. "Drake. It's been a while." "You know me?" the dragon asked, equally surprised. "I'm starting to remember many things," Naruto replied carefully. "Including the original heavenly dragons before their war and sealing." Issei looked between his arm and Naruto, confused. "Wait, you're saying you're older than Drake? That's impossible." "Many impossible things turn out to be true in this world, Issei Hayadu." Naruto stood, sensing they were no longer alone. "Your president is looking for you." Sure enough, the roof door opened to reveal Rias Gremory. Her smile froze slightly upon seeing them together. "Issei, there you are. The student council needs our help with preparations for the cultural festival." "Coming, Bucho." Issei scrambled up, giving Naruto one last curious look before following his master. Rias lingered a moment longer. "My brother informed me about tonight's operation. And? Be careful. Rise of him is treacherous beyond measure. Whatever he wants with you, it's nothing good." Naruto nodded. "I appreciate the concern." "It's not just concern," she admitted. "If something happens to you on an operation my brother organized, the political fallout could be severe." Her honesty was refreshing. "Then I'll try not to die for the sake of devil politics." Rias actually laughed at that. "See that you don't. I'm starting to think having you around might be interesting." After she left, Naruto remained on the roof, contemplating the approaching confrontation. Drake's recognition, though limited, confirmed that his identity wasn't completely forgotten in the supernatural world. Echoes remained in the memories of ancient beings. The afternoon passed quickly. When the final bell rang, Naruto didn't return to his apartment as usual but headed instead for the old school building. He needed access to the Occult Research Club's teleportation circle to reach the rendezvous point. He found Kiba waiting for him at the entrance. "Rias Bucho asked me to ensure you had what you needed for tonight's mission," the knight explained, leading him inside. In the main club room, a small arsenal had been laid out, weapons of various types, magical artifacts, communication devices. "I appreciate the thought, but I won't need weapons," Naruto said. "Even dragons benefit from proper equipment," came a new voice. Akino stepped from the shadows, holding a small wooden box. "This is from Surzek-sama specifically for you." Naruto accepted the box cautiously. Inside, nestled on black velvet, lay a single gem, golden with flecks of crimson and black swirling in its depths. "What is this?" he asked, though something in him already knew. A fragment, Aquino replied. Recovered from a sacred gear research facility last year. Surzek-sama believes it's connected to you somehow. Naruto lifted the gem, feeling instant resonance. This was indeed a piece of his fragmented power, one that had been incorporated into the sacred gear system. Its particular function eluded him, but the connection was undeniable. Thank you for this, he said sincerely. Aquino nodded, her usual teasing manner absent. Return safely, Naruto-kun. Few beings make Rias's brother nervous, but you seem to be one of them. With the fragment secured in his pocket, Naruto used the club's teleportation circle to transport to the meeting point, a secluded valley in the mountains north of Kyoto. There he found Surzek with a small team of elite devils, reviewing tactical displays of the target location. Ah, Naruto, right on time, Surzek greeted. We've completed our reconnaissance. Rizavim has approximately 30 devils guarding the temple complex, plus unknown magical defenses. Naruto studied the projected images. The temple sat atop a mountain peak, ancient stone structures partially reclaimed by nature. Something about it triggered his memory. This isn't just any temple, he realized. It's a dragon shrine from the pre-modern era. Humans built it to worship draconic entities they encountered. Surzek looked impressed. Your memory continues to improve. Yes, our historians confirmed it was dedicated to dragon worship, though records don't specify which dragon. I don't think it was one you'd know, Naruto murmured, memories surfacing. This area once served as a thin point between dimensions, a place where my influence leaked through more easily. One of the devil soldiers coughed awkwardly, clearly uncomfortable with casual talk of dimensional manipulation. The plan, Surzek redirected, is three-pronged. My team will engage the outer defenses as a diversion. You'll enter through this underground passage with a small strike team. Your goal is to locate and secure the Dragon Emperor's crucible while we handle Rizavim's forces. It was a sound strategy on its surface, but Naruto sensed the Mao was holding something back. And if Rizavim himself is present? We retreat, Surzek said firmly. This is a recovery mission, not an assassination attempt. The devils equipped themselves with weapons and communication devices. Surzek assigned a 3-member team to accompany Naruto, a tactical expert, a magic specialist, and a close combat fighter. As twilight descended over the mountains, they moved into position. Naruto closed his eyes briefly, reaching out with his enhanced senses. The temple radiated ancient power, partly from its original purpose and partly from whatever Rizavim was doing inside. There's something else there, he told Surzek quietly. Something beyond devil energy. It feels hungry. Surzek frowned. Can you be more specific? No. But be careful. This might be worse than we anticipated. With final preparations complete, the operation began. Surzek led the main force toward the temple's front entrance, magic circles blazing as they engaged the outer guards. The diversionary attack worked perfectly, alarms blared, and enemy forces rushed to respond. Naruto and his small team slipped around to the hidden passage he'd identified. The entrance, concealed behind a weathered dragon statue, led into darkness. As they descended into the earth, the ambient temperature dropped noticeably. Stay close, Naruto instructed his team. And be ready to retreat on my signal if necessary. The tunnel opened into a vast underground chamber that didn't match the reconnaissance images. Ancient pillars carved with dragon motifs supported a ceiling lost in shadows. At the center stood an altar, and upon it, glowing with malevolent energy, sat the Dragon Emperor's crucible. The golden chalice pulsed with power that made the air itself vibrate. Around it, complex magical circles had been inscribed on the floor, not devil magic, but something far older. That's our target, the tactical expert whispered. But where are the guards? This is too easy, the magic specialist added. There should be defenses. Naruto raised his hand for silence, extending his senses further. The hunger he detected earlier emanated from the crucible itself, or Rather, from what it contained. Rise of him had already filled it with something. Something familiar. It's a trap, he realized too late. The chamber doors slammed shut as magic circles flared to life around them. From the shadows emerged not devils, but robed figures with blank white masks, magicians from the Chaos Brigade. "Welcome, Naruto-kun," came a cheerful voice from above. Rise of him descended slowly from the ceiling, floating on dark magic. "Right on schedule. I do so appreciate punctuality." The devil soldiers moved into defensive positions, but Naruto signaled them to hold. "Rise of him. You've been busy." "Indeed I have. Recovering pieces of a puzzle that's taken me centuries to even partially understand." The devil gestured grandly toward the crucible. "Your puzzle, as it happens. The Dragon Emperor's crucible isn't meant for you," Naruto said carefully, assessing their situation. The chamber was sealed tight, with at least 20 magicians surrounding them. Where was Sirzex and the main force? "Oh, I'm well aware," Rise of him replied with mock disappointment. "It rejects my direct touch most painfully. But with the right intermediaries." He snapped his fingers, and the magicians began a chant, channeling power into the artifact. The crucible's glow intensified, and with it came pain, sharp and immediate as something inside Naruto responded to its call. One of his remaining seals cracked under the pressure, releasing another surge of power. "There it is!" Rise of him exclaimed delightedly. "The resonance. Your power recognizes its missing pieces, even across your self-imposed barriers." Naruto fell to one knee, fighting the pull. The fragment in his pocket burned hot against his thigh. "What have you put in the crucible?" he demanded through clenched teeth. "Just a small collection of dragon artifacts I've acquired over the millennia. Scales, bones, crystallized energy, fragments of what you once were." Rise of him circled them lazily. "Combined with the power of the Chaos Brigade magicians, it creates quite the irresistible lure for your sealed essence." The devil soldiers moved to attack, but Rise of him waved his hand dismissively. Anti-magic fields flared, neutralizing their abilities instantly. They collapsed, gasping. "Now, let's not be hasty," Rise of him chided. "I've gone to such trouble arranging this reunion. The least you can do is appreciate my efforts." Naruto struggled against the crucible's pull, feeling more seals weakening. This wasn't how he'd planned to recover his power, but perhaps he could turn Rise of him's trap to his advantage. "You don't understand what you're doing," he told the devil. "The power you're trying to harness will consume you." "Perhaps. But what an exquisite consumption it would be." Rise of him's eyes gleamed with madness. "To taste even a fraction of primordial dragon god power before it destroys me? Worth every risk." The magicians intensified their chant, and the crucible's pull strengthened. Naruto felt his partially human form beginning to destabilize as more draconic power surged to the surface. Golden light leaked from his skin, illuminating the chamber. The devil soldiers scrambled back in alarm as Naruto's eyes shifted from blue to gold with slitted pupils. "Yes." Rise of him exulted. "Show me your true form, Dragon God." Instead of fighting the process, Naruto made a strategic decision. He reached for the fragment in his pocket, drawing it out. The gem pulsed in sync with his heartbeat, recognizing its creator. "You want to see my power, Rise of him?" he asked, voice deepening to a rumble. "Be careful what you wish for." With a swift motion, Naruto crushed the gem in his fist. Raw draconic power exploded outward, merging instantly with his being. Another seal shattered completely as the fragment reintegrated with his essence. The chamber shook violently. Pillars cracked as reality itself bent around Naruto's transforming form. His human shape remained, but golden scales appeared along his arms, neck, and face. Wings of pure energy unfurled from his back, spanning 20 feet from tip to tip. The magician's chant faltered as their magic circles overloaded. Several collapsed, blood streaming from their eyes and ears as the backlash hit them. Rise of him, however, looked ecstatic. Magnificent. Even more potent than the legend suggested. With his newly enhanced power, Naruto tore through the anti-magic field around his devil companions. "Get out," he commanded them. "Find Surzex. Tell him the situation has escalated." They didn't need to be told twice, fleeing toward the exit tunnel. Naruto turned his full attention to Rise of him and the crucible. "Your turn," he said, gathering energy between his palms. "Release the artifact and leave while you still can." "I think not," Rise of him replied, his jovial mask slipping to reveal calculating malice. "This has always been about more than just you, Naruto-kun." He snapped his fingers again, and the remaining magicians redirected their spell. The crucible's energy signature changed, from pulling at Naruto to pushing something else out. Horror dawned as Naruto recognized what was happening. "You're using my power fragments to open a dimensional gate." "Very good." Rise of him applauded. The crucible was designed to channel power across dimensions. With enough Dragon God essence, it can open doors that should stay closed. The air above the altar tore open, not the clean dimensional cuts Ophis created, but a jagged, bleeding wound in reality. Through it came a miasma of dark energy that made even Rise of him step back. "What have you done?" Naruto demanded, advancing on the devil despite the caustic energy filling the chamber. "Created a peak hole," Rise of him replied, suddenly more serious. "Just enough to let a whisper through." A whisper from Trihexa's prison. The name sent ice through Naruto's veins. If even a fragment of Trihexa's consciousness escaped its seals. He didn't finish the thought. Acting on instinct, Naruto launched himself at the dimensional tear, channeling his reclaimed power. His wings wrapped around the breach, containing the escaping miasma. "Close it," he shouted at Rise of him. "You have no idea what you're releasing." "Oh, but I do," the devil replied calmly. "The beast of apocalypse. The end of all things. I've spent lifetimes studying the prophecies." Pain seared through Naruto as Trihexa's essence fought his containment. The power burned like acid, recognizing an ancient enemy. More memories flooded back, the final battle, the desperate sealing, the sacrifice required. "If Trihexa breaks free, there won't be a world left for you to rule," Naruto growled through the pain. "Nothing will remain." "Who said anything about ruling?" Rise of him looked almost disappointed. "I'm not interested in sitting on a throne, Naruto-kun. I want to see everything burn. To witness the unmaking of all creation. To stand at the edge of oblivion and laugh as it all falls away." The devil's madness was complete, absolute. There would be no reasoning, no bargaining. Naruto made his decision. Pulling on his deepest reserves, he began reconstructing the dimensional barrier from inside. Golden energy flowed from his hands, weaving new patterns to reinforce the weakened seal. The process was excruciating, like trying to dam an ocean with bare hands. Rise of him watched with clinical interest. Impressive. But ultimately futile. The breach is made. Trihexa has tasted freedom again, however briefly. It will not rest until it finds another way through. "Then I'll seal them all," Naruto snarled, pouring more power into the repair. The chamber began to collapse around them as the strain on local reality increased. Rise of him gestured to his remaining magicians, and they teleported away, leaving only him and Naruto. "This was just the first move in a much longer game," the devil said, backing toward his own escape portal. "We'll meet again, Dragon God. When you've recovered more of your power, and your memories." With a mocking bow, Rise of him disappeared, taking the crucible with him. Naruto barely noticed, focused entirely on repairing the dimensional breach. Sweat poured down his face as golden scales spread further across his skin, his body adapting to channel more power. Finally, with a sound like thunder imploding, the tear sealed. Naruto collapsed to his knees, exhausted beyond measure. The chamber continued crumbling around him, but he couldn't summon the energy to move. A familiar presence brushed his consciousness, Ophis. She had sensed the disturbance. Hold on, her voice whispered in his mind. I'm coming. Darkness claimed him before she arrived. Naruto awakened in unfamiliar surroundings. Gone was the underground chamber, replaced by what appeared to be an expensive hotel suite. Floor-to-ceiling windows revealed a city skyline at night, Tokyo, he guessed from the distinctive tower. He sat up cautiously, taking inventory of his condition. The golden scales had receded, but not completely, patches remained on his forearms and likely elsewhere. His power levels had stabilized at a new baseline, significantly higher than before. You're awake, Ophis observed from a chair across the room. Finally. How long was I out? 3 days. The answer shocked him. 3 days? What happened after I lost consciousness? Xerxes extracted you from the collapsing temple. I intercepted and brought you here. Ophis approached, studying him with unusual intensity. You've changed. Naruto looked down at his scaled arms. The fragment I absorbed, combined with the crucible's effect, it broke multiple seals at once. More than my body was ready for. Yet you survived. There was something like approval in her tone. Most beings would have been torn apart by such sudden power influx. I'm not most beings. He swung his legs over the side of the bed, testing his strength. Rise of him opened a breach to Trihex's prison. I know. I felt it. Ophis's expression darkened. The reverberations reached even Great Red. He is disturbed. That was significant news. Disturbed enough to make an appearance? Not yet. But he watches now, where before he merely existed. She sat beside him on the bed, an unprecedented closeness. Tell me everything. Naruto recounted the trap, Rizavim's plan, and the terrifying moment when Trihex's essence had begun seeping through. Ophis listened without interruption, her face growing more serious with each detail. This accelerates matters, she said when he finished. Rizavim now possesses the crucible and multiple fragments of your power. With these tools, he could potentially create more breaches. We need to stop him, Naruto agreed. But first, I need to stabilize this new power level. And... He hesitated, I think it's time I met Great Red. Ophis's eyes widened slightly, the most surprise she'd shown yet. You are stronger, but still. Not at full capacity. Great Red may destroy you without recognition. It's a risk we have to take. If Trihexa is stirring, we need the Trinity restored. Partial power won't be enough to reinforce the seals. Silence fell between them as Ophis considered his words. Finally, she nodded. Very well. But not directly. There is a way to test his reaction first. How? Through the dream realm. Great Red passes through mortal dreams occasionally, drawn to particularly vivid imaginings. If you project your essence into that plane, he may sense you without immediate confrontation. It was a reasonable compromise. Direct entry to the dimensional gap remained dangerous, but the dream realm offered a buffer, a way to reintroduce himself to the Dragon of Dreams without triggering territorial aggression. When can we try this? Naruto asked. Now, if you are sufficiently recovered. He nodded, settling back against the pillows. Guide me. Ophis placed her small hand against his forehead. Her touch was cool, almost ethereal. Close your eyes. Visualize the space between consciousness and unconsciousness. The twilight realm where thought becomes image. Naruto obeyed, sinking into meditation. This time, the process came easier, his enhanced power responding readily to his will. He felt himself drifting, separating from his physical form as Ophis's power guided him toward the dream realm. Colors swirled around him, billions of human dreams creating a kaleidoscopic landscape. Individual dreams appeared as bubbles of varying sizes and intensities, each containing a sleeper's subconscious imaginings. Focus your energy, Ophis instructed, her voice seeming to come from everywhere and nowhere. Create a beacon that Great Red cannot ignore. Naruto concentrated, drawing on his newly unlocked power. Golden light emanated from his dream self, cutting through the multicolored chaos. He shaped it into a specific pattern, 3 interlocking dragon symbols, the ancient mark of the Trinity. The effect was immediate and dramatic. The dream bubbles nearest him popped as their human creators awakened suddenly. Ripples spread through the realm, disturbing the natural flow of unconscious thought. And then, a presence. Vast, overwhelming, crimson as blood and limitless as imagination itself. Great Red had noticed the disturbance. Naruto braced himself as the massive consciousness approached. Unlike Ophis, who contained her power in a human-sized package, Great Red made no such concessions. His true form, a dragon larger than mountains, tore through the dream realm like a hurricane. Who dares? The voice shook the very fabric of the dream realm. Who calls with the ancient sign? Naruto stood his ground, letting his power flare brighter. You know who I am, Red. Look closer. The massive dragon halted, enormous eyes focusing on Naruto's comparatively tiny form. Recognition warred with disbelief in those ancient orbs. Impossible, Great Red rumbled. You were lost. Removed from the equation. I was fragmented, not destroyed, Naruto corrected. And now I'm returning. Great Red circled him, inspecting from every angle. Unlike Ophis's calm acceptance, the Dragon of Dreams radiated suspicion and something like fear. Why now? After eons of absence. Trihexa stirs, Naruto said simply. The seals weaken. We're needed again. At the mention of Trihexa, Great Red's enormous body tensed. Proof. I require proof of your identity. Naruto understood the demand. After countless millennia, an impostor claiming to be the third dragon god would warrant extreme skepticism. He reached deeper into his recovering power, calling forth the one ability that could not be imitated, true creation. Between his hands, he formed a miniature cosmos, not just an illusion like he'd shown Azazel, but an actual pocket reality with its own laws of physics, its own trajectory of evolution, its own nascent spark of life. Great Red went utterly still. Then, slowly, he reduced his size, condensing his immense form until he appeared as a humanoid figure with crimson hair. And eyes that burned like stars. It really is you, he said, his voice now at normal volume but no less powerful. After all this time. It's me, Naruto confirmed. Though not yet at full strength. Great Red approached cautiously, circling as if expecting a trap. Ophis knows. She found me first. Helped me begin breaking the seals. Of course she did, Great Red snorted. Always plotting, that one. She wants the balance restored, Naruto defended. As should you. Balance? Great Red laughed bitterly. Is that what she told you? That this is about cosmic balance? Confusion rippled through Naruto. What else would it be about? Great Red stopped circling, facing him directly. You really don't remember everything, do you? The reason you separated from us. The choice you made. I sealed myself to help contain Trihexa, Naruto said, but uncertainty crept into his voice. Didn't I? That was part of it, Great Red acknowledged. But not the whole truth. Not by far. His crimson eyes narrowed. Ask Ophis what happened between you two before you disappeared. Ask her about the conflict that nearly tore reality apart. Before Naruto could demand clarification, the dream realm shuddered violently. Great Red looked up sharply. Someone interferes with your projection, he warned. This conversation is being monitored. Alarm shot through Naruto. Rise of him? Perhaps. Or others with interest in our reunion. Great Red began expanding back to his true size. We will speak again, old friend. But be wary of Ophis's version of our history. Some truths are conveniently forgotten. With that cryptic warning, Great Red turned and tore through the dream fabric, disappearing back into deeper realms. As he vanished, Naruto felt a yanking sensation, someone forcibly pulling him back to his physical body. He awoke with a gasp, sitting bolt upright. Ophis stood at the foot of the bed, her expression uncharacteristically troubled. "What happened?" she demanded. "I lost contact." "Great Red happened," Naruto replied, studying her reaction carefully. "He recognized me." Relief flashed briefly across her face. "That is, good news." "Is it?" "He seemed less than thrilled about my return." Naruto swung his legs over the side of the bed, facing her directly. "He also said some interesting things about you, about us, and about why I really disappeared." Ophis went perfectly still, not her usual calm stillness, but the rigid immobility of someone caught in a lie. Great Red has his own perspective on past events. "Then give me yours," Naruto challenged. "What really happened between us before I sealed myself? What conflict was Red talking about?" For several long moments, Ophis said nothing. When she finally spoke, her voice was softer than he'd ever heard it. "We were more than cosmic counterparts, you and I. More than aspects of a greater power." She looked away, toward the Tokyo skyline. "We were bonded. Connected in ways that transcended normal existence." "Bonded how?" "Your human terms would be inadequate. Soulmates comes closest, though it fails to capture the depth." Her gray eyes returned to his. "We were complementary forces, creation and infinity, intertwined." The words triggered another memory cascade, flashes of connection so profound they defied description. Two dragons, gold and black, flying through primordial void, their energies merging, separating, dancing in perfect harmony. We were lovers, Naruto realized, the concept simultaneously alien and familiar. Not in the human sense, but something far more fundamental, two cosmic forces finding completion in each other. "Yes," Ophis confirmed. "While Great Red represented the dreams and ambitions of creation, you and I represented its foundations, the infinite canvas and the creative force that filled it." "Then what went wrong? Why would I leave that connection?" Pain flickered across Ophis's face, genuine emotion breaking through her usual mask. "We disagreed. About creation itself. About its purpose and direction." "Disagreed how?" "You wished to grant freedom to the lesser realms, to allow mortal creatures true autonomy. I believed all should remain within our direct influence and control." Her voice remained steady, but her hands clenched slightly. The conflict escalated. Powers meant to complement began to clash. Another memory surfaced, a catastrophic battle between gold and black dragons, reality fracturing around them as their opposed wills tore at the cosmic fabric. "We nearly destroyed everything," Naruto whispered, the realization hitting him like physical pain. "Yes." Great Red intervened, but the damage was done. The first cracks appeared in reality's foundation, cracks that Trihexa exploited to begin its incursion. The full picture was coming together now, why Naruto had sealed himself, why Great Red seemed resentful, why Ophis had been so determined to find him again. "I didn't just seal myself to contain Trihexa," he said slowly. "I sealed myself to prevent us from tearing reality apart in our conflict." Ophis nodded, her expression haunted. "Your final words to me were, until we learn to balance freedom and order, we cannot safely exist together. Then you scattered your essence across dimensions, becoming the final lock in Trihexa's prison but also removing yourself from our destructive conflict." Silence fell between them as Naruto processed this revelation. Their relationship hadn't been simply cosmic counterparts or even allies against Trihexa, it had been love turned to conflict, harmony turned to destruction. "And now?" he finally asked. "What do you want from me, Ophis?" "The truth this time." She met his gaze steadily. "What I have always wanted. Completion. Balance. Return to harmony." Her voice softened further. I have existed in isolation for eons, incomplete without your counterbalance. I have had time to consider your perspective on freedom and autonomy. And Great Red? Where does he fit in this reunion? He has grown comfortable as the dominant power. He fears our reconciliation would threaten his position. Ophis approached, stopping just short of touching him. But the Trinity is needed now more than ever. Trihexa stirs, as you have witnessed firsthand. Naruto stood, moving to the window. Tokyo sprawled below, millions of lives continuing in blissful ignorance of cosmic struggles. These were the beings he had apparently fought to grant freedom, mortals with their brief, brilliant existences. I need time, he said finally. To process this, to recover more memories. To decide what I believe now, not just what I believed then. Time is precisely what Rizavim will not grant us, Ophis pointed out. With the crucible in his possession, he will seek more breaches. Then we stop him first. Naruto turned back to her. Together, but on equal terms. No more hidden agendas, no more selective truths. Ophis considered this, then nodded. Agreed. Partners in this, as we once were in all things. The promise hung between them, a tentative bridge across eons of separation and conflict. Naruto wasn't ready to trust completely, not with so many memories still missing, but necessity demanded cooperation. What's our next move? He asked. Return to Kuo, Ophis suggested. Consolidate your new power level. Then we track Rizavim's movements and recover the crucible before he can create another breach. It was a solid plan, if somewhat reactive. But without full knowledge of Rizavim's resources or intentions, proactive options were limited. Alright, Naruto agreed. But first, I need to check on something. He reached into his pocket, drawing out a small communication device, the one Surzex had given him. 3 days of unconsciousness meant he'd missed updates on the fallout from the temple mission. The device activated at his touch, immediately displaying multiple urgent messages. Most were from Surzex, but one caught his attention, from Azazel, marked highest priority, contact immediately. Situation critical. Naruto shared a glance with Ophis before activating the response function. A magic circle appeared, projecting Azazel's image. The fallen angel leader looked haggard, with dark circles under his eyes. About damn time. Azazel exclaimed. Where have you been? Recovering, Naruto replied. What's happened? What's happened? Oh, nothing much, just widespread supernatural panic after what I can only describe as a cosmic hiccup 3 days ago. Azazel ran a hand through his hair. Every monitoring system we have went haywire. Heaven locked down completely. The underworld is in emergency session. And no fewer than 14 doomsday cults have declared the end times officially begun. Trihexa, Naruto said grimly. So it's true. Azazel's expression darkened further. We'd hoped it was a false reading. The implications are exactly as bad as you're thinking, Naruto confirmed. Rizavim created a temporary breach using the Dragon Emperor's crucible. I sealed it, but the damage is done. Trihexa is now actively seeking escape. Azazel swore colorfully in several ancient languages. Where are you now? We need to coordinate a response immediately. Tokyo. I'll be returning to Kuo shortly. Good. I'm calling an emergency summit of faction leaders. Your presence will be required. Naruto frowned. I don't answer to the current factions, Azazel. This isn't about authority, it's about survival, the fallen angel retorted. If Trihexa breaks free, we all cease to exist. Pride is a luxury none of us can afford right now. He had a point. Whatever Naruto's true nature or power level, coordinated response would be more effective than individual action. When and where? Kuo Academy, neutral ground, tomorrow night. All major faction leaders will attend. Azazel's eyes shifted to Ophis, visible behind Naruto. Including Great Red? Unlikely, Ophis replied flatly. Pity. Having all three dragon gods in one place would have been historic. Azazel sighed. Just be there, both of you. The situation couldn't be more serious. After the communication ended, Naruto turned to Ophis. Looks like our return to Kuo is well-timed. Perhaps too well-timed, she observed. This summit gathers all faction leaders in one location. You think it could be a trap? Orchestrated by Rizavim? It would fit his methods. Create a crisis, then exploit the response. Naruto couldn't dismiss her suspicion, but the alternative, refusing to coordinate against a common threat, seemed worse. We'll attend, but cautiously, he decided. If it is a trap, we might turn it to our advantage, draw Rizavim out. Ophis nodded. A reasonable approach. But you should complete your physical recovery first. She was right. Despite the power upgrade, Naruto's body still hadn't fully integrated the changes. Golden scales remained visible on his skin, and occasional energy discharges crackled around him when his concentration lapsed. A few more hours of meditation should stabilize things, he agreed. Then we head back to Kuo. As he settled into meditation posture, Naruto reflected on the revelations of the past hours. His relationship with Ophis, the conflict that led to his self-imposed exile, Great Red's resentment, all complicated an already dangerous situation. And beneath it all, the nightmare of Trihexa stirring in its prison, seeking freedom to unmake all creation. The stakes couldn't be higher, the situation more precarious. Yet despite everything, Naruto felt something he hadn't since awakening in this world, a sense of purpose. Whatever had happened in their past, whatever might happen in their future, he and Ophis were now aligned against a common threat. The Trinity might be fractured, but 2/3 of it stood ready to defend reality itself. As his consciousness deepened in meditation, golden energy stabilizing throughout his system, Naruto made a silent promise to the sleeping world around him. This time, they would find a better way, a balance between Ophis's desire for order and his own belief in freedom. This time, they would face Trihexa without tearing reality apart in the process. Whether Great Red would join them remained to be seen. But even incomplete, the primordial dragons were awakening once more, and the supernatural world would never be the same. The emergency summit at Kuo Academy transformed the school's auditorium into a gathering of power unprecedented in recent supernatural history. Angels, fallen angels, devils, yokai, valkyries, gods from multiple pantheons, representatives from every major faction had answered Azazel's call. Naruto observed from backstage, his presence not yet revealed to the assembled leaders. Beside him, Ophis remained perfectly still, her childlike appearance belying the immense power she contained. Quite the turnout, Surzex commented, joining them. The devil leader looked tired but composed. Your return to the supernatural world has certainly made things interesting, Naruto. Interesting isn't the word I'd use for a potential apocalypse, Naruto replied dryly. Point taken. Surzex glanced at a notepad in his hand. We've arranged the speaking order. After Azazel's introduction, I'll explain the temple mission and its aftermath. Then you'll be introduced to address the Trihexa situation directly. Naruto nodded. And what exactly am I supposed to tell them? The full truth. As much as necessary, Surzex advised. These leaders need to understand the gravity of our situation, but too much information about your true nature might cause complications. Panic, Ophis translated flatly. Fear of powers beyond their control. Essentially, yes. Surzex looked uncomfortable. The hierarchy of supernatural forces has been relatively stable for millennia. Learning that beings exist who dwarf even gods in power, it will be destabilizing. Naruto understood the political concerns but had little patience for them given the circumstances. If Trihexa breaks free, hierarchy becomes irrelevant. Everyone dies, gods included. Agreed. Which is why we need unity more than complete disclosure right now. Surzex checked his watch. It's time. Azazel is starting. Through the curtain, they heard the fallen angel leader calling the summit to order. His opening remarks were direct, outlining the energy anomaly detected 3 days prior and its potential connection to Trihexa. Murmurs spread through the audience at the mention of that dreaded name. Surzex took the stage next, explaining the operation against Ryzavim and the discovery of the Dragon Emperor's crucible. He described the temple incident in carefully measured terms, emphasizing Ryzavim's responsibility while glossing over the specifics of how Naruto had sealed the breach. Finally, it was Naruto's turn. He stepped onto the stage, immediately aware of hundreds of supernatural beings assessing his power level, trying to categorize him within their understanding of the world's hierarchy. Thank you for coming, he began simply. What you've heard so far only scratches the surface of the danger we face. He explained Trihexa's nature as concisely as possible, the beast of apocalypse, sealed away by God and other primordial powers, capable of unmaking all creation. He described how Ryzavim had used dragon artifacts to temporarily breach those seals, and the likelihood that he would try again with the stolen crucible. As he spoke, Naruto sensed varying reactions from the audience, skepticism from some, fear from many, calculation from a few. One white-haired figure near the back particularly caught his attention, observing too intently, radiating suppressed power that felt oddly familiar. The breach has been sealed, Naruto continued, but Trihexa is now awake and searching for weaknesses. We need a coordinated response, intelligence gathering to locate Ryzavim, defensive measures for potential breach sites, and research into strengthening the existing seals. A tall, distinguished-looking angel raised his hand, Michael, leader of Heaven's forces. You speak with authority on matters few beings should know about. May I ask how you came by this knowledge? The question Naruto had been dreading, but couldn't avoid forever. I was there, he answered simply. When Trihexa was first sealed. Shocked whispers swept the auditorium. That's impossible, declared a powerful-looking man with a Norse aura, Odin, presumably. That sealing occurred before even the oldest gods were born. Nevertheless, it's true. Naruto allowed a fraction of his power to surface, golden light emanating from his skin, his eyes shifting to draconic slits. I am older than your pantheons, older than your concepts of divinity. The room temperature dropped as divine auras flared defensively. Several gods rose from their seats, power gathering around them. What manner of being are you? Michael demanded, his usually calm demeanor shaken. Before Naruto could answer, Ophis stepped onto the stage beside him. Her appearance, a small gothic Lolita girl, initially confused the assembly until her overwhelming aura unfurled. He is the primordial dragon god, she announced, her monotone voice somehow reaching every corner of the room. The third aspect of draconic divinity, alongside myself and Great Red. If Naruto's revelation had caused shock, Ophis's confirmation created outright chaos. Gods argued with each other, angels conferred urgently, devils looked both terrified and calculating. Impossible. Thor bellowed, his hammer crackling with lightning. There are only 2 dragon gods. Your histories are incomplete, Ophis replied indifferently. What you know as the beginning was already the middle of a much longer story. The white-haired figure Naruto had noticed earlier stood calmly amidst the uproar, still watching with that unsettling intensity. Something about him triggered Naruto's instincts, a warning sense that had nothing to do with power levels. Surzex and Azazel moved to restore order, calling for calm and rational discussion. Gradually, the supernatural leaders settled, though tension remained palpable. Even if what you claim is true, Michael said once quiet returned, why reveal yourself now? Why have the dragon gods suddenly taken interest in worldly affairs after eons of isolation? It was a fair question, and one Naruto answered honestly. Because Trihexa threatens all reality, not just your individual realms. Its freedom would mean the end of everything, human world, underworld, heaven, all pantheons, even the dimensional spaces between. And we're supposed to just trust that you, beings who apparently exist above even gods, have our best interests at heart?" asked a beautiful woman with a distinctly Valkyrie appearance. "You don't need to trust our motivations," Naruto replied. "Only our mutual interest in continued existence. If reality ends, we end too." This pragmatic approach seemed to resonate better than appeals to altruism. The supernatural leaders, accustomed to power politics, understood enlightened self-interest. Azazel took the opportunity to refocus the discussion. "The immediate threat is Rizavim Levon Lucifer and the Dragon Emperor's Crucible. We need to pool intelligence resources to locate him before he creates another breach." The summit proceeded more productively after that, with faction leaders agreeing to share information, establish joint patrols of known weak points between dimensions, and research methods to strengthen Trihexa's seals. Throughout the discussions, Naruto remained aware of the white-haired observer, who never spoke but whose attention never wavered. As the summit concluded, this figure slipped out before Naruto could approach him. "Something wrong?" Surzex asked, noticing Naruto's distraction. There was someone here, white hair, expensive suit, powerful but suppressing it. He seemed familiar somehow. Surzex frowned. "I don't recall inviting anyone matching that description." "No," Ophis agreed, joining them. "He was not on your guest list." "A spy for Rizavim?" Surzex suggested. "Possibly. Or something worse." Naruto couldn't shake his unease. "Have your security check the attendance records. I want to know who he was." As the auditorium emptied, faction leaders approached Naruto individually, some offering alliance, others thinly veiled threats should he prove dangerous to their interests, most simply trying to assess this new player in the supernatural world. By the time the last dignitary departed, Naruto was mentally exhausted from the political maneuvering. He retreated to the Occult Research Club building with Ophis, Surzex, and Azazel for a smaller, more candid discussion. "That went about as well as could be expected," Azazel remarked, pouring himself a generous drink. "Nothing says, productive meeting, like not having any gods declare war on each other." "They're afraid," Surzex observed. "As they should be. But fear makes for unreliable allies." "At least they're taking the Trihexa threat seriously," Naruto said. "That's step one." "Yes, but your revelation complicated matters," Surzex pointed out. "The supernatural world operates on clear power hierarchies. Gods at the top, various supernatural beings beneath them, humans at the bottom. You and Ophis represent a category they didn't even know existed." "Truth often complicates," Ophis said with unusual philosophy. Azazel drained his glass. "The real question is, what's our next move? The faction leaders will handle intelligence gathering, but that could take weeks. Rizavim won't wait that long. We need to be proactive," Naruto agreed. "The Crucible responds to my energy signature. I might be able to track it directly if we can amplify the connection." "How would we do that?" Surzex asked. "With another fragment of my power," Naruto explained. "The one I absorbed created a stronger link to the others. If we could locate additional fragments." Azazel sat forward. "Actually, something went wrong with this response, please try again. Write the next chapter after this." The end. Thank you for watching this video. Please be sure to subscribe to our channel and like this video.